Good morning, folks. Haven't really spoken much about my favourite subject, and that's the impact of American imperialism on the world. I think it's time now that I revisited that topic, because a lot of people are falling for the same old bullshit, the Hollywood, the Disneyland nonsense that America is a force for good in the world, and that everything America does is actually right. Even when they're wrong, they're still right. Look, in Australia recently, we broke a deal that is 5 years old, a 5-year-old deal that we made with the French. The French are apparently very good submarine makers. They also make nuclear submarines. So we didn't go from France to America because America offered us nuclear submarines. No, folks. I was just about going to pronounce it the way George Bush used to pronounce it, nuclear. So, no, folks. The reason we broke our word with the French is our best friends, our big brother, and our mum, Britain, decided that any money that's spent by the English-speaking world on arms has to be spent either on their own industries or on America. And it was only about money, folks. Not about better product, not about sharing technologies. It's all blah, blah, the same old crap. And trust our fearless leader, ScoMo, to actually put a positive spin on it and saying it's better for Australia. Well, mate, ScoMo, if we're still around in 30 years, thanks to the policies of you and your reactionary buddies in the Anglo-speaking world, if there still is a country in 30 years when your submarines are commissioned, then who will you be fighting? In 30 years' time, China will be able to blow us out of the water. Just like America has done everywhere, well, China's going to take over that role. And folks, you've got to come to terms with it, because God doesn't ordain things. It's the work and brains of the country that creates a superpower, not God. Anyway, getting back to the vilification of China and the lies told about China. Folks, what do you actually know about China? Most of you don't know shit about China, yet you turn around and talk so authoritatively on China and its role in the world. Well, I suggest that you do some study, and I suggest that you go back 5,000 years to find out when China begins, when Chinese civilization begins. Most of you who keep telling me, China is going to do this, China's going to do that. China ain't going to do anything. China's primary role is to feed, clothe, house, educate their people. They want a prosperous China. They want a China that is strong economically, that can protect its borders and that can look after its people. They're not looking to divide up the world with America. That's what America has done. America has been a colonial power since its inception, and nothing has changed. It went from taking over the continent from the Indians, and then from the Spanish or the Mexicans, and then it tried to take over South America, and then into the Pacific, and now it's become the leader of the free world, whatever that means. I don't know how they could possibly call themselves the leaders of the free world when their best friends throughout the world are the bad guys like Saudi Arabia and all the reactionary dictators in South America and other parts of Asia that they've propped up and armed and trained. So America holding the moral high ground is ridiculous. America has been at war for 95% of its existence as a nation. America has no other industry of note other than its military-industrial complex and its entertainment industry. And it's through its entertainment industry that so many of you have been sucked in to thinking America is a good, well-intentioned nation. Now let's make one thing straight here. American people, some are the most wonderful, humanitarian, well-intentioned people in the world. But they don't hold the reins of power in America. The reins of power in America is held by its elites. It's super rich, self-indulgent, crazy to the point where they think they can do anything, and whatever they do, they can spin it so that all you suckers out there think, oh no, America's doing the right thing. Well, they went into Iraq for the right thing. They went to Afghanistan for the right thing. They went to Vietnam for the right thing. They went to wherever they've been the past 150 years for the right thing. But everywhere they've gone, they've done the wrong thing. They've killed people, they've pillaged the resources, and they've installed reactionary dictators, because their dictators, those dictators are going to follow the line. They're going to do what Uncle Sam tells them. Now, I wanted to talk more about China, but I think China deserves its own little rant that I do here. And I think before I speak about China, I need to do a little bit more research about China, because despite knowing probably more than your average Joe, and I'd say a lot more than the average Joe, I don't know anything, because China's history is so rich and so old that it would take decades of study just to scratch the surface. The one thing that I want to say about China is China built a wall to keep people out. China had the biggest navy, the biggest ships, the biggest military the world had ever seen for centuries, for millennium. They could have taken over Southeast Asia. They could have crossed over and maybe even take over places like Persia and the Persian Empire and so on, but they didn't. Chinese are very practical people. They are people who want to provide a decent living for their people. It's as simple as that. Historically, China's had lots and lots of famines. In fact, I read somewhere they said that there was literally a famine every year somewhere in China. Now, China doesn't want to repeat its history. China wants to create a new history, whereas we in the West, we want to go backwards. We want the white supremacist, racist, fascist ideology to rule the world. Well, it ain't going to happen, folks, because the rest of the world has woken up to the Anglo American and Western European ex-colonial powers. And poor old French, eh? Well, this is a message for you, French, because when I was a kid, you know what they used to say about the French? They used to say wogs. Now, wogs is a derogatory term to talk about non-Anglos. They used to say wogs start in Calais. This is also a message for you, Germans. You used to be the Huns, the evil ones. So despite both the French and the Germans all being of Germanic stock, like the majority of white Americans and all of the English, they do not figure in the Anglo-American narrative. You're just vassal states, you're small fish that's got to do what the shark in the water tells you. And if the shark of the water says he's going to eat you, he's going to eat you. America has no friends or allies. America has vassal states. And we in America, we're happy little vassal states, or happy little Vegemites, as the Aussies would say. We love following Uncle Sam into disastrous wars where we kill innocent people. For what? For nothing but the wealth and power of the military-industrial complex and the companies and the individuals who profit from them. That's what it's for. It's not for peace. It's not to make things better. It's to make a few people richer. Now, unless you start appreciating that and studying it further, all we're going to do is vilify the good guys and exalt the bad guys. Thanks very much, folks, and long live human rights, long live anti-racist struggles, and long live the anti-fascist struggles of the 20th and 21st century. Thank you.